Listen, I'ma get it, you know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Fight Against Mediocrity podcast. You'll notice here, if you're watching on video, I'm in a little bit different background. Today's our last day in Hawaii on our family vacation, but I wanted to get this podcast in real quick for you guys. Two things. Number one, if you have ever struggled with the imposter syndrome, or you've failed multiple times, or you're failing right now, or you feel like you're failing, this story is going to tremendously bless your life, and I want to share with you what I learned from it. And then number two, I want to share with you the greatest asset you have as a business owner, salesperson, human being, what that is, and how to use it to grow your impact and your income. And then as a bonus at the end, I'll even share what I plan on doing with that as well. So I'm reading a book. So we're in Hawaii right now on vacation. I set the goal to finish 5 books. I think I'm going to finish 4, unless I can bust one out on the airplane ride home, but it's a red eye, so I'll probably be sleeping. One of the ones that I'm just about done with is Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. It's been on my to-read list for way too long. And if it's on your read list, or if it's not, it's a must read. Phenomenal book. He is such a great storyteller. And the story that I want to share from it, I think is on page like 76. And I'm not going to read it to you. I'll just share it from memory. So Russell was sitting in class. He wrestled in college, and he was sitting in class, and after class, he was doing some math, and he was crunching some numbers, and he realized a way that he could make $50, $100, $500,000 in just one day. He realized the magnitude of what a list can do for you. Now, when I say list, I mean an email list or a text list or a message list, like people who you have in your database, your CRM, who you can send messages to and sell things to and communicate with and build relationships with. At this point in Russell's life, he did not have a list, but as he started, doing the math, he realized that if he could build an email list, he could make a lot of money really fast by giving them an offer. So he went home and he's like, I need to find a list. Where can I buy a list from? And he went home and he found a place online. This probably doesn't exist anymore, where he could buy a CD-ROM that stored data with 1 million emails that claimed they weren't spam emails, like they were verified, no spam. 1 million emails. Pretty good deal, right? He figured if he could sell a $50 product or a $10 product to just 1% of them, he could make a lot of money. So he ordered the DVD, took forever to get there. It finally arrives at his house. He says, I saw it on my countertop. I ran over, grabbed it, opened it, busted it open, ran to the computer room before my wife. She asked, what is it? Before I could even respond, ran into the computer room, popped it in, downloaded the 1 million emails, and started crafting my email to give them an offer. And he said in those days, he unplugged the phone and plugged in the internet modem because it was dial-up, started typing it. He finished it, clicked send, went to sleep, could hardly sleep because he was waiting in the morning when he had $100,000 in his bank account. He literally that night told his wife, he said, hey, Colette, quit your job. You don't need to work anymore. We're going to be able to retire. Like, this is it. I found the magic thing. Like, this is it. This is going to make it happen. And he woke up the next morning and only 6,400 emails had sent. I was sending a lot slower than what he thought. And Colette needed to use the phone. So he said, I went, unplugged the internet, plugged in the phone, and it was ringing. So I picked it up and there was someone on the other line. And they yelled, what the heck are you doing on the internet? We're getting tons of calls from your IP or about your IP address saying that there's spam coming from it. What are you doing? And he's like, and they're like, we're going to have to, he didn't say exactly what they said, but along the lines of, we're going to shut off your internet. You're going to go to jail, We're going to have to get attorneys involved. So he stopped the emails. And before his wife went off to work, he said, hey, don't quit your job today. Sorry, didn't end up working out how I wanted it to. And so anyways, he learned the hard way not to buy lists. And I've done that. I bought lists and they did not go well. So the best way to build your list is organically. Well, we'll go into a couple different ways of how you can build your list, but building your own list versus buying a list of names that you don't know who they are. So anyways, he tells this story and then he's like, I knew lists were important. So I started searching online. And he's like, and one day I started getting a lot of emails from everyone I followed about someone, and I can't remember their name, but he said it was someone Mark Joyner. And he read about Mark Joyner, and Mark Joyner was a great internet marketer. and he was retiring, and he was giving away all of his programs, his courses, and a way to build lists for $1,000. And Russell's like, this is it. This is what I need. That CD that I bought didn't work, but this is what I need. This is what I need to build a list and learn. And so he gets all excited about it, and then it dawns on him that they don't have $1,000. His wife makes $9.50 an hour, and it would take her 105 hours to work and earn the $1,000. And they needed that for mortgage, for food, for everything. But he was wrestling in college and couldn't work. And so he tells it like this: I went to bed knowing that tomorrow was the last day I could get the offer, and knowing that I needed it, knowing that I needed to ask Colette if I could spend the $1,000. I woke up the next morning, looked over at Colette, and I'm going to read this part actually. As the sun started to rise and I heard my wife waking up next to me, I knew I had to ask her something, but I was scared. Every online venture over the past 18 months that I had tried had failed. And this is where I really want to dive into this portion of the story. Everything that I've told up to this point is breaking down this. Just a few months earlier, I had gotten our internet access shut off within hours of me telling her to quit her job. Yes, 23 tests in 18 months, all in an attempt to make money online, had failed. We had no money to our name. I didn't have a job, and Colette was making a whopping $9.50 per hour at hers. I was about to ask her to let me spend $1,000 we didn't have on a hope and a dream. I did the math. It would take her 105 hours to work to earn that money. And that was before taxes. We needed that money for food and rent and everything else. But as she opened her eyes and I asked her to make a sacrifice that I couldn't, she smiled and asked, do you think this will be the one that works? Oh, and I asked her to make a sacrifice that I couldn't, because she was the one working. Do you think this will be the one that works? She asks. As I'm writing this now, I'm tearing up. I always say that you can only be as successful as your spouse or significant other will allow you to be. When Colette looked at me in that moment, I knew she believed in me, even though I had no track record of success, and I'm so grateful that she did. I told her that I felt that it was the key, and if I could figure out how to build a list, then we would be free, and Mark Joyner was the man who was going to teach us. She gave me a kiss, told me she believed in me, and with that, I jumped out of bed, ran to the computer, and pulled out our only credit card and typed in the digits. Within seconds, it was done. A week later, I had the course. What I assumed at this point and what Mark Joyner taught me were the same. The list is the key. That's the big secret. It's the only real asset in any company. So a couple of things to unpack here. Number one, 23 tests in 18 months. Put yourself in Russell's shoes. Put yourself in Colette's shoes, his wife. For those of you who are married, you're married to someone who's tried 23 ways in a year and a half to make money online and failed. Imagine the family functions. People are saying, Colette, like, when's Russell going to make money? Is he crazy? Is he like, what's wrong with him? When is he going to give up? Like, he should just get a real job. Like, you know that things like this are being said. Russell's got to be like extremely, like, it goes back to the podcast I did last week, like dumb enough to try. He just kept trying. He knew it could work, and he knew if he just didn't give up, he could make it work. And he also was never afraid to invest in himself. I think that's one of the biggest keys, is like, he knew that someone else had done it, and if they'd done it, there was no difference between he and them. And if they did it, he could do it too. If someone else done it, you can figure it out too. You just have to learn how and not be afraid to invest in yourself. But ultimately, I want to really pinpoint down on the 23 tests in 18 months. I see so many people, myself included, we try once, maybe twice, and we say, it didn't work, I'm going to try something else. But 23 tests in 18 months. Have you tried anything that many times over that long of a period? If you haven't, like, maybe that's why you're not getting to where you want to be. Maybe you just have to show life that you're willing to just take it to the face 23 times before life's like, okay, here you go. And I think that's the big secret to success, is now people will pay Russell Brunson $250,000 to come speak in an event. Whereas before, he was scraping by to get a $1,000 program. And that's the big key, is like, he kept investing in himself and learning and growing and was obsessed with it to the point where he is now. And now I'm sure, Colette's family or whoever that was the naysayers before now say, I know him. I know Russell. I knew him when he was nothing. And they say it as a proud statement, whereas before they said it as ridicule. So if you're trying, if you're failing and you're in the depths of sorrow, you feel like you're not doing it right, 2 things. Don't give up. Keep trying. If you're obsessed with it, you will figure it out. If someone else has done it, you can do it too. I promise. And number 2, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself, I had this revelation this morning, and I wish I could draw it out, but imagine you're on a straight line. Like your life is a straight line, that's time. And at that straight line, that's your current skill and knowledge level. And say that skill and knowledge level earns you $50,000 a year right now. You will always be on that skill and knowledge level if you do nothing else. But say you invest $10,000 into yourself, 20% of your income, to learn something new, to gain knowledge, to gain skills. And say now that line, there's a line that juts out from it and goes up 10 feet. And then you're on a new line where you're now able to earn $100,000 a year because you invested in yourself. That's kind of how I see investing in yourself. Like every time you do it, you level up. Does it have to be money? No, you could watch YouTube videos. You could read books. Like this book is excellent. But what I found is those who are willing to invest in themselves typically see results faster and more frequent. The second thing that I wanted to unpack are lists. And if you want to learn more about lists, like read Traffic Secrets, he does a phenomenal job. But he talks about 2 ways to grow your list, and then, or actually 3 ways. And then once you have a list of people, how you can use that to grow your business. Here's the reason why lists are so crucial. And when I say lists, again, I mean email, text, wherever you have your customers' information and you can reach out to them. Because here's what most people don't understand. Say you have an Instagram account and it has 100,000 followers. Great Instagram account, right? But say for some reason, Instagram changes their algorithm, or they don't like you anymore, so they kick you off, or, Instagram goes bankrupt, or whatever happens, your 100,000 followers are no more. Your reach for your audience is gone. Even if the algorithm changes a little bit, you could be reaching all of them, and then the next day, you could be reaching half of them. And this happens all the time. So basically, imagine there's you, Instagram, and then your customer. Instagram is between you two. It's like a fence. And in order for you to talk to your customer, you have to go peek over the fence or ask to open the gate of the fence. But when you get your customer's email address or phone number, the fence is removed and you have direct line of contact. That's why Amazon is so dangerous for e-commerce companies, is because people can order your products on Amazon, but you never get their information. So you can't resell to them unless you go through Amazon. So how do you get people's information? That's what Russell goes through in Traffic Secrets. I could do another podcast on it a little bit more, but ultimately you can earn it by getting on people's podcasts, by going out and hustling and grinding. You can buy it, so you can run Facebook ads and stuff like that. And typically why someone would people aren't just going to be like, oh, you're building a list. Here's my email address. Here's my phone number. The reason people give you their information is because you have something valuable that they want. So for me, some thoughts that I've had of what I could do is I could offer a free training on how to get into sales, or how to make 6 figures in sales, or how to start a business. I could offer free training on how to overcome the imposter syndrome, on how to wake up early, like something that people want, offer it for free in exchange for their email address. So it's not like to build a list, you have to be, evil or, just go take it from everybody. You're actually exchanging value for value. And if you exchange enough value, then you can continue to get value from that person and that list and build a relationship with them. And that's how you can actually help people, is when you build a relationship with them. Anyways, that's some thoughts that I have. That's the story. That's the podcast today. Love to hear your thoughts. If you like this episode, please leave it, the podcast a 5-star review, and share it with your friends and family. And shoot me a message on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any other questions that you'd like answered, or you have any ideas for me, or you're interested in one of those, things that I talked about, possibly giving away for free in exchange for an email address, let me know. But have a great day. Continue to fight mediocrity and realize your potential. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?